Hey guys, today I'm filming a palette of the month video on the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. If you guys have not seen any of my other videos in this series, I'll have my playlist linked down below. I have already done palette of the month videos on Kat Von D Interstellar, Urban Decay Naked 3, The Balm in the Balm of Your Hand, and the Anastasia Tomata palettes. My inspiration for this series is Amanda Alexander on YouTube and Fashion Footing on all of her other social media. Last year on Amanda's Instagram, she had done a palette of the week, and then at the end of the year she posted a YouTube video showing you all the palettes she had used, and she gave you her thoughts on each palette. I'll have that video linked down below. Please make sure you go watch the video and subscribe to Amanda's channel. Amanda is one of my favorite people on YouTube. She has great videos and an amazing personality. You need to check her out. You guys will not be disappointed. So there are two main reasons why I decided to do this series. First off, I am not a palette person. I am much more of a single shadow girl, but I have a ton of really great palettes in my collection that I need to get use out of. And secondly, when I do use my palettes, I discover one look, wear it all the time, and that's it. I do not experiment and try to come up with more looks. So that is going to be the challenge for me in this series, is to create multiple looks using the same palette. So in my monthly makeup basket video, I will be showing you guys the palette I will be using for that month. And then at the end of the month, you will see this video, which is the review portion. And in this video, I will go over the packaging, show you all of the shades with swatches. I will show you the looks I created. I will go over the formula, texture, pigmentation. I will show you my favorite shades, and I will give you my final thoughts on the palette. So starting with the packaging, this is what the palette looks like. It is designed to look like a treasure chest, which is a cute play on words with the title being Hidden Treasure Palette. I don't particularly love this packaging. I do like the play on words, but it's not the cutest to me, but it isn't terrible. What I do love is that it is that sturdy cardboard with the magnetic closure, which is my favorite packaging for palettes. On the inside, you have a decent sized mirror. You can apply your makeup in this mirror in a pinch, or if you want to get up close to do eye makeup and eyebrows, it would be good for that, but I wouldn't say this would be nice for applying your makeup on a daily basis. The number one comment I have heard about this palette is about the layout. So this is what the layout of the palette looks like. I know. This is driving my OCD self crazy with the way that these shadows are so scattered. I definitely think this palette would be more appealing to the eye if these were all lined up like the Urban Decay Naked palettes. But in my opinion, with this scattered placement, it makes this palette memorable. So even though the layout drove me insane at first, the more that I've used it, the less the layout has bothered me. So now to show you the shades, there are 10 eyeshadows in this palette. You have 5 metallics, 1 shimmer, and 4 mattes. For the metallics, you have Coin, which is a gold. Gemstone is a silver rose. Diamond is a rose gold. Crown is a copper. Ruby is a ruby red. For the shimmers, you have 1 in the shade Pearl. For the mattes, Map is a light cool tone tan. Locket is a warm mid-tone orange brown. Key is a dark red chocolate brown. Onyx is a deep true black. So now for the swatches, as you can see, the metallics are just out of this world, bling, and especially Coin. So we have the shades Coin, Gemstone, Diamond, Crown, and Ruby. Then we have Pearl, Map, Locket, Key, and Onyx. I really do love all the shades in this palette. I think they are stunning neutrals, and I think they did a good job picking complementary mattes to go with the shimmer shades. If I could change any of the shades in this palette, I wish Pearl was a matte shade, because I would love to use this as a brow bone highlight. It isn't too metallic shimmery, but I just don't like shimmery brow bone highlights. But if you do like shimmery brow bone highlights or inner corner shades, you will love this one. Also, I wish there was another brown shade in between Locket and Key. There is just a huge shade gap between these two. Also, I never ever use black shadows, so this shadow is probably going to go untouched for me. So I wish that they would have the brown replacing that one. But I do know for some people that black is a staple must-have shadow in any palette. So like I said, I would tweak a couple things, but overall I absolutely love the shades in this palette. I was able to create 5 looks using this palette, each one centered around a different metallic shade, so now on into the details. Here's today's look using the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. As a base on my lid, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Eyeshadow Crayon in Enduring Rose. On my lid, I'm using the shade Gemstone. In my crease, I'm using Locket. As a transition color, I'm using Map. Here what the eyes look like up close. On my cheeks, I'm wearing the MAC Simpsons blush in Sideshow You. On my lips, I'm wearing the MAC Patent Polish Lip Pencil in the shade Go for Girlie. Here's today's look using the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. As a base on my lid, I'm using the L'Oreal Hip Color Chrome Eyeliner in Gold Charge. This line has been discontinued, but the L'Oreal Silkissime liner in gold is very comparable. On my lid, I'm wearing the shade Coin. In my crease, I'm wearing the shade Locket. As a transition color, I'm using the shade Map. And here what the eyes look like up close. For blush, I'm wearing MAC Ripe for Love, which was limited edition from the Temperature Rising collection. On my lips, I'm wearing a lip liner and liquid lipstick combo. For lip liner, I'm wearing the Taretist lip liner, and my liquid lipstick is the NYX Lingerie in Bedtime Flirt. Here is today's look using the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. As a base on my lid, I'm using the e.l.f. Glitter Primer. From the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette, on my lid, I'm wearing the shade Diamond. In my crease, I'm wearing the shade Locket. As a transition color, I'm using the shade Map. Here what the eyes look like up close. For blush, I'm using Sonia Kashuk Melon. For lips, I'm wearing a combo of a lip liner and a lip gloss. I lined and filled in my lips completely with the ColourPop Lippie pencil in Aquarius. I filled in my lips with the Dose of Colors lip gloss in Bellini. Here's today's look using the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. As a base on my lid, I'm using the Milani Shadow Eyes pencil in Golden Bronze. And from the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette, I'm wearing Crown on my lid. I'm wearing Locket as my crease color, and I'm wearing Map as my transition color. Here what the eyes look like up close. For blush, I'm wearing the Makeup Geek blush in XOXO. On my lips, I'm wearing the NARS Audacious lipstick in the shade Raquel. Here is today's look using the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. As a base on my lid, I'm using the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Pomegranate Punk. From the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette, I'm using Ruby on the lid, Locket in the crease, and Map as a transition shade. Here what the eyes look like up close. On my cheeks, I'm wearing the MAC Mineralized Blush in Warm Soul. On my lips, I'm wearing a lip liner and lipstick combination. I outline my lips with the ColourPop Lippie pencil in Aquarius. I filled in my lips completely with the ColourPop Lippie stick in Cookie, which has a matte finish. So now for the formula, texture, and pigmentation, that is where I was most disappointed in this palette. So I had purchased this palette because I had heard it being raved and raved and raved about on Instagram. So I had set my standards pretty high for this palette, and once I got it and started working with it, I was definitely let down. I want to tell you my first impression with this palette. So I had used the Urban Decay Primer Potion all over my lid, and then I went in with the shade Coin in my MAC 239 flat shader brush. That was a no-go. The shadow was not sticking to my eye whatsoever. Every time I went in to apply more product, it was just flaking off. I could not get it to stick to my skin. That was my first impression, and it was a pretty horrible one. I did not have high hopes for the rest of the palette. So after the terrible first impression, I made a couple changes in the way that I work with this palette. The first change I made was the brush I was using. So instead of the 239 from MAC, I was using the MAC 242. They're both flat shader brushes, but as you can see, the 242 is skinnier and it is synthetic. The synthetic bristles work way better with the formula of the metallic shadows. So from then on out, I use the MAC 242 to apply the metallic shades. This brush does really help pack the color on the lid. I am able to make it stick a little bit better and I don't get as much fallout, but this brush by itself is not a miracle worker. I would also recommend applying the metallic shadows with your finger on the lid. That gets a lot of intensity and not as much fallout. The other change I made when working with this palette is that I'm not only using a primer, but I'm also using a cream base. Whether that is a cream shadow, an eyeliner, or a glitter primer, something is essential if you want these metallic shadows to actually stick to your lid. I used all three of those options you will see in the looks that I showed you, and having that sticky metallic base makes the colors more intense and it helps them adhere to the eye. So for me, that is essential. I will no longer apply these shadows without some type of cream base. So now I want to talk about the formula of each of the different finishes, starting with the metallics. These are very creamy to the touch. They almost feel wet, which is why I think they tend to clump together and flake off. The formula is a little too wet. And for the matte shades, these are more of a dry texture. They aren't too difficult to work with and they aren't patchy, but they do feel very dry. The formula of the matte reminds me of the Lorac Pro shadows, because when you dip your brush in there just a couple times, you get a bunch of little brush pin pricks and you get powder everywhere. So while the mattes are dry when you swatch them, I don't have any problem working with them. And the shade Pearl is the only shimmer finish. I don't use this one a ton because I don't really want a shimmery brow bone highlight, but this is fantastic quality. It's super smooth, easy to apply. This is a great middle texture between the metallics and the mattes. Also with the metallic shades, they are not all created equally. Coin definitely has the most fallout, and Ruby and Gemstone have the least amount of fallout. With all of the metallic shades, there is some, but some have more than others. Every single time I use this palette, I have tons of metallic shadow all over my face, so I do just take a brush and flick it away. Sometimes that works really well, other times that stuff is really sticking to my skin, and then I have a shimmery under eye, which is not cute. I always apply my face makeup first, but if you guys are gonna get this palette, or if you have it, I say you really should do your eye makeup first. That way the cleanup is a lot easier and it's not going to mess up the rest of your makeup. So from now on, I'm gonna have to do things differently and do my eye makeup first. Even though the formula of the metallics and the mattes are not the best, every single shade in here is intensely pigmented, which I love. You don't really need to layer them up. They are super wham bam intense for both the metallics and the mattes. So to show you my favorite shades in the palette, I used Map and Locket with every single look as my transition and crease color. I love both of these shades. They are so stunning and great for those uses. And as far as the metallic shades go, Gemstone and Ruby are my favorite. I love the colors, and these do have the least amount of fallout. I do love all these metallic shades. I love metallics so much. I have a ton of amazing ColourPop metallics that work really well. So I do love looking at all of them, and I love the look once I get everything cleaned up and put together. But because of the formula, Gemstone and Ruby are my favorite shades. So my favorite look that I had created was using Ruby. I am wearing that makeup look today, and you will see that in a couple days. So now for my final thoughts on this palette. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. I am leaning more towards dislike. The pros for this palette would be the shades. The shades are the reason that I bought this palette in the first place. I was so drawn in by the gorgeous metallics and the stunning mattes. I also love the amount of shimmers and the amount of mattes in this palette. The pro would be the pigmentation. My main con is the formula. The metallics are really clumpy. They patch off. You get fallout literally everywhere. So much fallout. I don't know if I've ever had that much fallout on my face, and it really can ruin your makeup. I am able to make it work, but it really is not going to make me want to reach for this palette, especially because I do have some really gorgeous metallics from ColourPop that I can use instead. I definitely think I will still use this palette because I really did love all of the looks I created once I got that complete look. If you're interested in this palette, I would say give it a try, but if you are like me and you cannot stand fallout, I would pass on this and get some amazing ColourPop metallic shades. So that was my palette of the month on the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. I would love to know your thoughts if you have tried this palette, and I would love to know what your favorite looks are. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.